Yo, what's up guys? Pat Flynn here. Welcome to episode 53 of SPI TV. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, I want to share 5 books that I've been reading or I'm about to read this summer because a lot of you have been requesting, Pat, what books are you reading now? And I actually shared a number of books in previous episodes of SPI TV and they were so popular that, a lot of you want more. So here they are. All right, so the first book I wanted to introduce to you is called Invisible Influence. This is by a guy named Jonah Berger, who's actually been on the SPA podcast before in episode number 56, when his other book came out called Contagious. In that book, he talked about how things go viral. In this book, he talks about how there are hidden forces around us that shape our behavior. And if you're selling anything, if you're an entrepreneur, if you make any decisions during the day, which obviously we all do, then you need to check out this book. It's really interesting. And this copy that you see here, it's really cool. This is what's called a proof or a galley copy, which means it hasn't even been out yet. Well, it came out eventually, and this is what the cover looks like now. And I don't know, Caleb, can you see that? Oh, this way? So actually you can see behind there, it actually says everybody's reading it. So just to kind of reflect the idea that there are hidden messages and hidden things out there that exist in this world that influence how people decide. And I remember actually seeing this book at the airport on the way to Podcast Movement earlier this year, and I knew I had to pick up the actual cover because it was so cool. So check this out. Jonah Berger is an awesome guy. And, a lot of these books that, actually all of them now that I'm looking at them, aren't even in my book club yet. I want to mention that really quick. You can actually join my book club where I, every single month, send you a new book that I've been reading. If you enjoy this kind of stuff and you enjoy reading, sign up. You can go to smartpassiveincome.com/book-club or just patsbookclub.com. Sign up there. And every month I'll send you a free newsletter with the latest book that I've been reading. So that's the first one. Again, Invisible Influence by Jonah Berger. All right, the next book I want to talk about is called The Power of Starting Something Stupid by Richie Norton. You might recognize that name if you listened to the SPI podcast and heard the episode I did with John Lee Dumas about his recent Kickstarter campaign. We mentioned this name, Richie Norton, who is somebody who owns a company called Product. He's the person who helped John Lee Dumas launch his Freedom Journal. He helps with the manufacturing and ideation of physical products and other products too. But he wrote this book. He shared this book with me after I actually reached out to him because he and I are actually now working on a project together. That's all I'm going to say about that. You'll hear more about that later. But this book's really cool because how many times have you ever thought that an idea was stupid? Well, a lot of us think our ideas are stupid sometimes. But actually, when you think and look back at a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs out there, a lot of their big-time ideas actually started out as stupid in their own head. So it brings you into the lives of other entrepreneurs and their stupid ideas. And really stupid is, there's a good quote here that I want to talk about that defines this. He says, "Stupid as the new smart infers that while an idea may appear to be inherently faulty, the idea is, in reality, sound and in your best interests to pursue." So all those ideas you have, and I know you're an entrepreneur, you have thousands of ideas. Some of them might sound stupid to you. That doesn't necessarily mean you should get rid of them right away because it might turn out that maybe that's your best idea. And this book's gonna help you figure that out and give you a lot of inspiration to do that. All right, the third book I want to talk about is by my good friend Jonathan Fields over at the Good Life Project. You can check him out in his free show. Amazing interviewer, amazing stories of just really emotional sometimes at goodlifeproject.com. But his book is called How to Live a Good Life. And it's actually not even available yet. You can pre-order it now on Amazon if you're watching this before October 18th, which is when it comes out. But this is actually another one of those galley copies like I talked about. So Jonathan sent this to me because I wanted to check him out. I love his work. I support it very much. And I wanted to read this book. I actually haven't even started this one yet. This is the next one that's on my list. So I wanted to share it with you early because it's on my radar and it looks like a good story. And if it's anything like his show, it's going to be amazing. So subtitle is Soulful Stories, Surprising Science, and Practical Wisdom, again by Jonathan Fields. I look to enjoy this book with you if you choose to read it too. All right, next up, we have another previous guest of the Smart Passive Income podcast. Back in episode 210, we interviewed Dana Malstoff, who talked about automation. Well, in her book, Boss Mom, which, by the way, is a self-published book, which I love. I've written a self-published book myself. I know all that goes into that, so good job, Dana. You rock. This book, again, called Boss Mom, is the ultimate guide to raising a business and nurturing your family like a pro. Now, her brand is Boss Mom, and this book is called Boss Mom, but it's not just for the moms out there. It's for anybody who's raising a family and building a business at the same time. Something that's very difficult to do. I've done it myself. I have 2 kids, and I'm trying to run a business and run my family too at the same time, so I know that it's quite difficult, but it's also very rewarding too, and Dana helps you work through all the things that are involved with that. So great job, Dana. Thanks for writing this book, and I know a lot of people are going to enjoy it. All right, and finally, I wanted to share a fun book with you that I've read, and it's called Moonwalking with Einstein. What is Moonwalking with Einstein? Can you imagine that, like being with Einstein and moonwalking? Yeah, you could probably visually imagine that, and it would probably be kind of ridiculous, but that's actually part of the secret of memorization. I'm not going to reveal any more about some of the tricks you can use to memorize things, but I've actually taken memorization to the next level with a lot of what I do in my business. I've tried really hard to learn how to memorize names, for example, or certain things that I've learned while watching tutorials and whatnot. And Moonwalking with Einstein is a story about a guy named Joshua Foer, who is the author, who had he was a reporter who went to the world's memory championship one day, and he went there and he was so just intrigued by this world of memory. There's literally memory competitions out there where they'll have, the people who are competing, they'll get poems to memorize, and they have only a certain amount of minutes to memorize every single line, or they get a deck of cards and they have like 30 seconds with it to memorize the certain order of the cards, and it's just kind of crazy. But he was so fascinated by this that he started to get trained for it, and he actually won one of the competitions from just training. So that just shows us that anybody can learn how to have a better memory, and I think all of us want that. The one thing that I've learned that has been the most helpful in terms of memorization is actually remembering people's names, and there's certain ways that you can memorize people's names. You can look up videos on YouTube on how to do that. There's another guy named Jim Quick who shares some great tips that I've learned a lot from too. But this book is a great story, very inspirational, actually very actionable. You can actually, in the first couple chapters, learn some of the techniques that he shares, and you'll actually blow your own mind doing it. So I highly recommend this book. Again, Moonwalking with Einstein, a really fun read actually too. And if you had a family or some kids or something and you wanted to read this along with them, it could actually be really useful too. So I recommend checking it out. All right, so those are some of the books that I have read or am reading or am about to read. I wanted to share those with you because a lot of you have been asking for more books from me. A lot of you are really fast, actually faster than me. Now, if you wanted to subscribe to my book club and get a book sent to you every single month, a review or a summary of a book that I've read, you can sign up at patsbookclub.com, and there every single month I'll send you a book. And sometimes I give you special deals too, or I reward copies of the book to you. Sometimes I work with these authors to get copies that I can give away. Sometimes I get early access to these books like I did with Jonah or Jonathan's book, so I can cover these books even before they come out, so you can get first notice of them. So please sign up at patsbookclub.com, and it's free. You have nothing to lose. So look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much, and see you in the next episode.